Hi everyone, welcome back. I received a request to do some 6-inch by 6-inch scrapbook pages. So I'm actually going to make a 6-inch album. So what you'll need is a pack of page protectors, 2 post extenders or posts from an album, 2 sheets of chipboard large enough to make your cover, and 2 sheets of pattern paper. The first step is to measure your page protector. All page protectors are slightly different. This one measures 6¼ inches by 7¼ inches. So I cut my 2 chipboard sheets to 7½ by 6½. And now I'm just lining up the page protector and marking where the holes will be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch off the side where the holes are, and then an additional 1/4 of an inch off the rest of the piece. So what I'm going to end up with is a 3/4 inch piece of chipboard and a 6½ inch piece of chipboard. And that's just because in order for the cover to turn on the posts, it needs to have a gap so it can fold up. So there you see where I have the 3/4 inch by 6½ inch strip and the 6½ inch by 6½ inch square. And those work with my measurements for mine. You might need to adjust yours a little bit depending on how big your actual page protectors are. So the next step is to cut a piece of pattern paper for your cover that's 1 inch larger all the way around. So because my book is 6½ inch by 7½ inch, in order to get an inch all the way around, it needs to be 9½ inches by 8½ inches. And I'm just going to take my ruler and a pen and mark an inch on all 4 sides. So again, just to recap, my book, when it's finished, is going to be 6½ inches by 7½ inches total. So I've cut the paper 8½ inches by 9½ inches, which is 2 inches larger on either side, which gives me an inch on every side. And I'm now marking where that inch is. When you've finished marking, your next step is going to be to take your strongest adhesive, whatever that may be, and apply a generous amount to your book. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just very quickly, I've sped it up here, but I am using my ATG because that is the strongest adhesive I have, and I am pretty much blanketing the entire sheet with that. When you've done that, you're going to take your 3/4 inch piece and you're going to put it inside the square you've marked off on the left side of the page. And then you're going to take your 6½ inch piece and put it on the right side of the square. And you'll have a 1/4 inch gutter in between the 2 sides. Take your scissors and cut the edges off at an angle, but leave a little bit showing. You don't want to get right up to the chipboard, because what we're going to do is we're going to fold that little edge over and you're going to have a perfect looking book with very professional looking corners. Now before you fold the edges over, you need to punch your holes again. At every step of this process, you need to make sure you are punching your holes continuously. Otherwise, they'll be covered in paper and you'll lose track of them. So I'm going to use my Anywhere hole punch to get them punched out. And then I'm going to show you how to cover the book. Starting on one of the longer sides, use your bone folder to fold the paper up tight against the side of the chipboard. Really crease it really well before you then fold the paper over the top of the chipboard. That way you won't have any rippling or buckling on the sides. And it's not that easy to see, but when you get to, maybe you can see it better on this side, when you get to that 1/4 inch gutter, you need to press it down, the paper down into the gutter a little bit, and that will allow the book to move freely. Now I'm doing the corners, and how you're going to do this is you're going to use your bone folder to push the paper around the corner to wrap the corner in that patterned paper. You're going to do that on each edge before you fold it up. And that is going to get you a perfect looking corner. There won't be any gaps where you can see the chipboard. Everything will lay down nice and tight, and it'll look like any hardbound you got in the bookstore. So repeat. Remember to fold the corner in just a touch, and then push it back up against the side of the chipboard, and then down. And now push that paper into the gutter. See, now you can see it better. It's going into the gutter, and that is so you can fold the book. Punch your holes again. There's adhesive on the paper, so it's sticking inside my crocodile. And then do a few test folds. Fold it back and forth. Make sure there's no cracking. This one works perfectly fine. So I'm going to do the inside. The inside sheet is going to be a 1/2 inch smaller on each side than your board measurements. So my board is 6.5 by 7.5 total. So this one is going to be 6 by 7, and that will give me a 1/4 inch on all sides. Start on the side that doesn't have the holes, and just a little bit at a time, making sure there's no air, no gaps. Use your bone folder to push it down. When you get to the gutter, use your bone folder to push it down into the gutter, so that when you fold the book, it doesn't crack or buckle or anything like that. Now, punch your holes again. This is the last time you're going to have to punch those holes. And you're done with one of the sides. So now I'm going to speed up and show it to you again. If you happen to have this particular Fiskars trimmer, a quick way to mark your lines is actually to put the paper in it and use a pencil to drag in the little channel that the blade runs. So here you go again, cutting the corners, making sure starting with the long sides, we're folding it up and pushing it down and burnishing really well, and now pressing it into the gutter. Again, always make sure everything is nice and tight. So definitely get your bone folder gets a workout on this project. Fold in those little tiny corners. Don't forget to punch your holes. And then fold it up and over, and then push that down into the gutter. Okay, folding in the little corners and adhering it down. Next, I'm going to put my 6 by 7 inch piece, and making sure it has a generous amount of my strongest adhesive, I'm going to put it down, starting with the side opposite the holes, burnishing really well with my bone folder, pushing the paper down into the gutter, and then adhering it up and over. And now I'm punching my holes with my crocodile, and we're almost finished. We're going to put the posts for your album into one of the sides. Just stick in your page protectors, and then put the top down, screw the other end of the post on, and then you have a perfect little book that opens and closes and is a 6-bound album. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the cover.